Well, Facebook. As we get things together, and recording in progress. Here we go. Greetings, or should I say Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is another beautiful Sabbath day. I'd like to say greetings, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's having a great day on this day of the Shabbat, which is February 14th, 2025. 26. February 14th, 2026. This is a day that a lot of people call a certain holiday that I don't recognize. This is the Creator's Day. And just wanted to say happy 2026 of February 14th. I'd like to thank my brother G1 joining us today on this beautiful Sabbath day. And this is Sabbath Assembly of the Righteous. This is the Sabbath Assembly of the Righteous. This is where the righteous come together on the Sabbath day, carrying out the Creator's word, saying or doing as the Creator says do by keeping his commandments, keeping his laws, and keeping his statutes, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to start off today. Today's lesson is going to be in 1 Kings chapter 7. We're in 1 Kings chapter 7 today, and I think we may be in the full chapter 7 on both accounts, because this is pretty long. Yeah. So we may be in the full chapter of 7 today, of 1 King. And this is the furnishing of the temple and many other things with it, but mainly the furnishing of the temple that Solomon did. So right now I'm going to go through prayer. Then we're going to go through the commandments, which is the law that the Creator spoke to the children of Israel. Then we're going to understand the reason why we have prophets. And then we're going to go into today's information, which is of the law and of the lesson of history. So, as we pray, blessed be thou, Father of the universe, that bring forth all living creatures forth from the earth. Blessed be thou, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Blessed be the Father of Israel. Blessed be the Father to our tribe of Israel. Thank you, Father, for all you've done, been doing, and plan to do. We ask you to keep giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, life, health, and strength, food, shelter, and clothing. Let us be happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and prosperous in all that we do. We ask you to keep leading and guiding us so we can help lead and guide others in your knowledge, your word, your ruach, and your way. We ask you to allow us to keep your knowledge and retain your knowledge so we will know what we need to do to help others fruition and to be broadened in the knowledge of the things we need to know. We bless you, praise you, and thank you of all these things that you have given us, told us, and given us to understand, to know in this day and time. We ask you to give us of the sins and the knowledge of the things that our people and our forefathers done in time past against your word, and forgive us of these things, and help us turn back to your law and do your will. Lift the spirit of deep sleep from us that we may grow into your word and know your word. And we ask you to help us in every way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, or spiritual. In all these things we pray. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise your Almighty. Thank you, Father. Now, we're going to go into the law, which is the commandments. And as we go into the law, which is the commandments, we're going to read and see what the Creator spoke to the children of Israel. And as he spoke to the children of Israel, what he said, what he had us to do, and how we are to conduct ourselves in the earth and be examples to the rest of the world and all other nations. So, right now, we're going to start at Exodus chapter 20, verse 1, which are the 10 commandments which the Creator spoke to the children of Israel in the wilderness. And it reads, And Yah spake all these words, saying, I am Yah thy father, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. First commandment, thou shalt have no other deities, gods, before me. Second commandment, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything. That's the key. That is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yah thy father, am a jealous father, visiting the iniquity of the fathers, which is of the parents, upon the children, which is taught to the children, unto the third, which is the Greek, and the fourth, which is the Roman, generation of them that hate me. World powers, the generation of the world that hate the Creator, and showing mercy, grace, unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Just using the words of today to bring to light the actual word that's being said so people can get better understanding. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments, showing the grace and mercy unto thousands of them that keep his commandments and that love him. Third commandment, thou shalt not take the name which is the law of Yah thy father in vain. For Yah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name, which is his law, in vain. Fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, which is hallowed, which is set aside. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. 6 days do all your work. But the seventh day, which is the Sabbath day, which everyone calls Saturday, is the Sabbath of Yah thy Father. In it thou shalt not do any work. We should not do any work in that day. Thou, meaning the husband and wife, together as one. When it says thou, it means you as one. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, which is your children, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, which is your workers that work for you, nor thy cattle, meaning your animals, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, nor anyone that's living amongst you shall be doing any work on the Sabbath day. For in 6 days, the Creator gave us 6 days, or he did in 6 days, Yah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in the midst. He made everything the 6 days. First day was in the mind. He didn't start creating until the second day. For in 6 days Yah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in the midst, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Verse 12, or shall I say, the fifth commandment. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy father giveth thee. Seventh commandment, or shall I say sixth commandment, that was the fifth. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is actually our elders. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not murder. Even though I also always share, when you murder, you kill without a cause, which is spoken of in the actual law. But it says, it says thou shalt not kill. Kill is when you take life for a purpose. But when you murder, you take purpose without a cause. Thou shalt not murder. Seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery, which is idolatry and also fornication, which is when you mess around, when a man that has a woman or a wife, which is still a woman, when he mess with another man's woman, which is his wife, he commits adultery, idolatry, and fornication. Also, if a woman that belongs to a man or women that belongs to a man mess around with another man outside of that relationship, they are committing adultery, idolatry, and fornication. Just letting me know. Eighth commandment, thou shalt not steal. Ninth commandment, which we know that's taking things that belong to someone else. Ninth commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And as I always share, prosecutors does this daily. Lawyers and lawyers and attorneys does this daily when they go in court. When they go to court, they bear false witness because they wasn't there. And 10th and last commandment that the Creator spoke to the children of Israel directly. Thou shalt not covet, which is want thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet, which is want thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, which is his workers, nor his ox, nor his ass, which is his animals, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And that was the conclusion of the commandments that the Creator spoke to the children of Israel in the land, in the wilderness at that time. But this is where the people asked for Moses to speak, which is the brunt, or just the beginning of the prophets to come. Because Moses was a prophet that brought the word. And all the people saw, verse 18, and all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood far off, like we all would do if we are in the open field and all that thunder and lightning is going on, because we know how it is when we're in a household and there's thunder and lightning outside. But just imagine being under the clouds and under the heavens and all that's going on. They ran off. So what happened was in verse 19, it says, and they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not Yah speak with us, lest we die. That's how scared they was. So they said, Moses, you speak with us. And Moses turned and said, and Moses said unto the people, fear not, for Yah is come to prove you. We supposed to prove all things. For Yah has come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that you sin not, that you do not sin. 21 and last verse for the moment. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near into the thick darkness where the Father or Yah was. All right. So the conclusion to that is here in Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting at verse 15 through 22, speaking again upon what they just asked Moses. And verse 15 states, Deuteronomy 18, verse 15 states, and Yah thy Father will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye, which is you, shall hearken. You're going to listen to, or you shall do the words that they say, according to all that thou desirest of Yah thy Father in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, that when all the people said, this when all the people said, let me not hear again the voice of Yah my Father, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. Verse 17. And Yah said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. This is when the Creator said, Yah spoke was well what you have spoken. 18. I will raise them up a prophet, and that's the key. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, thee, Moses, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. That's when the Creator has started raising prophets, and that's the reason why these are the reasons, and not looking for one man way down the line, but as the Creator raised prophets up, these are people he speaks through, which are his ambassadors to the people to understand what the Creator requires. Verse 19. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken, hear, listen, and do unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, in the Creator's name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other deities. A lot of people doing it today with Jesus. Excuse me. A lot of people doing it today with Jesus and all these other deities. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other deities, or gods, deities, even that prophet shall die. 21st verse. And if Thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which Yah hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of Yah, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yah hath not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of that prophet. Don't be afraid of him. Because he's spoken out of turn. The Creator didn't bring him. And if it don't come to pass, that means that the Creator didn't send him. All right. Now, we're in 1 Kings chapter 7. 1 Kings chapter 7 is where we're located today. And today's information lesson is furnishing the temple. Furnishing the temple. But we're going to start off in the beginning of this in chapter 7. 1 Kings chapter 7. It's the right now this says the other buildings of Solomon. These are other buildings of Solomon. But we're going to go into the furnishings once we get to it. Right now we're just talking about the other buildings of Solomon. All right, we're going to go to verse 1. And as you can see, this is a continuation from verse 6. Now, last week, before we get started, last week we were speaking about Solomon builds the temple. Solomon building the temple last week, and we was going into all the information and things that Solomon did and who he used. Now, when you go into, I think last week we did 5 and 6, but last week when we first started, in verse 5, he did a agreement with King Hiram, Hiram, Hiram. King Hiram, he did an agreement with. So the first verse, I'm do the first 33 verses. It says, and Hiram, this is chapter 5. We're not going to start in 7 yet. We're going to go to doing a small recap. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father. For Hiram was ever a lover of David. He loved David. Not lover of David, but he loved David as a brother. People use the word lover wrong in this day and time according to the way they think. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how David my father could not build a house unto the name of Yah, his father, for the wars which were about him on every side, until Yah put him under the soles of his feet. Put them under the soles of David's feet, that is. But now, Yah my father have given me the rest on every side, so that there is neither adversity nor evil current. Adversity or evil occurrent. And behold, I purpose what it was mainly. Let me hit down to the middle of 6, but right here at 5 it says, and behold, I purpose to build a house unto the name of Yah my father, as Yah spake unto David my father, saying, this is the Creator said, Thy son whom I will set up thy throne in thy room, he shall build a house unto my name. And this was Solomon. Now we're going to go to the middle of 6. Might well go ahead and hit 6 real quick to let you understand the reason why he used Hiram. Now therefore commanded thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servant shall be with thy servant, and unto thee will I give hire for thy servants according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians. So this is one of the reasons why he used them to build and to do the cutting of the timber and things like that to get things started. So from that point on, Solomon did his situation in building the temple and how he went about doing it in chapter 6. So now we get ready to start in verse 7, chapter 7, which is a continuation from 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from verse 36 and then go into 7 to show you how it's a continuation. A lot of people look at the chapters like these are different chapters, but it's really one book. These different books are different books, and what they did was they chopped them up into chapters. So these are actually books that people don't realize, and then there's only a certain portion where you can actually see when a new position started. When he said, "And thus says the Lord, it shall come to pass," something like that. When certain things happened that they were speaking on. But right now we're gonna start at 36, and we're gonna go into chapter 7. So right now, verse 1 Kings chapter 6, 36 says, "And he built the inner court with 3 rows of hewed stones and a row of cedar beams." 37. "In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of Yah laid in the month of Ziph." So this is sharing with you that the 4th year was the foundation of the house of Yah laid in the month Ziph. That was the 4th year in the foundation of the house. It was in the month Ziph. We got to find out which month that is, which number. And in the 11th year, in the month Bull, Bul, which is the 8th month. Okay, Bull, Bul is the 8th month of the year, according to Scripture. Bul, bull or bull, Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it, so was he 7 years in building it. It was 7 years in building it. But Solomon, okay, this is how you go into chapter 7. You see now it's a but there. So that's a continuation of the sentence, or a continuation after the sentence was made. So chapter 7. "But Solomon was building his own house 13 years." You see that? This off from over here real quick. No. "But Solomon was building his own house 13 years." So he built the creator house within 4 years, but how he was building and structuring his own place, it took 13 years, and he finished all his house. Okay. Now, this is concerning his house. It took him 13 years to finish his own house, but finish the creator house because that was most important. That was most important. But finish the creator house in we say in 4 years. "In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of Yah laid in the month Ziph, and in the 11th year, in the month Bull, which is the 8th month, was the house finished." So it took him 11 years, to do the temple, but it took him 13 years. So that was 2 years later. So they may have been building both houses at the same time. Might have been doing both at the same time. But his own house, it took 13 years, and he finished all his house. So they either started on one or they probably started together. But they started the temple and they started on his house. But let's just go and see what's going on with it. Verse 2. "He built also the house of the forest of Lebanon." The house of the forest of Lebanon. Let me see what this is. He built also the house of the forest of Lebanon. Of the forest of Lebanon. The length thereof was 100 cubits, and the breadth thereof was 50 cubits. The length, 100. That's how long it was, and how wide it was, and the breadth, how wide it was 50 cubits. And the height thereof, 30. It was 30 cubits high. Got to find out what cubits is actually. Find out what cubits actually is in feet and inches, or you know, upon 4 rows of cedar pillars with cedar beams upon the pillars. Verse 3. And it was covered with cedar above upon the beams that lay on 45 pillars. It laid on 45 pillars, 15 in a row. And there were windows in 3 rows. Excuse me. And there were windows in 3 rows, and light was against light in 3 ranks. Hmm. And all the doors, windows, and all the doors and posts were square. With the windows, say with the windows, they were square with the windows. And light was against light in 3 ranks. Hmm. I wonder how he had that figured off. You know, all this has certain significance to it too by the way they were built. There's certain significance, spiritual. I bet spiritual significance with the way that they was built. I bet it was. It wasn't just did no ordinary way. It was did a certain way for a certain purpose. And he made a porch of pillars. The length thereof was 50 cubits, and the breadth thereof 30 cubits. And the porch was beautiful before them, and the other pillars and the thick beam were before them. And the thick beam was before them, being probably holding up the house. Number 7, verse 7. Then he made a porch for the throne, where he might judge, even the porch of judgment. Porch of judgment. hmm I like this one. Then he made a porch for the throne, where he might judge. So as we can see, there's 2 different places. A place where he stayed that people would come, he would judge at, and then the temple where they would do worship at. They weren't the same place. And the throne is this chair that he sits in, where he might judge, even the porch of judgment. And it was covered with cedar from one side of the floor to the other. And his house where he dwelt had another court within. So that's like a courthouse. Yeah, that's where they get the courthouse from. Had another court within the porch, which was of the light work, which was of the light work. Solomon made also a house for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had taken to wife, like unto his porch, like unto his porch. So he made a porch of her like unto his. All these were of costly stones. Mhm. All these were of costly stones according to the measures of hewed stones. It cost. Excuse me. saw with hew stone, sawed with saws, within and without, even from the foundation unto the coping, and so on the outside towards the great court. Y'all see that? So this is all according to his house here, according to the great court, aside toward the great court. So it's like he had his throne and there's a court out where everybody can see him at. It's the way he had it made. Some people would think a house like a regular house, but his house was more like a palace. You know, his house was like a palace, and that was his house. But we look at a house like something we living in. We gotta look at stuff that they're living in was more like, if you imagine the courthouse that they have downtown, which is actually a courthouse. Just imagine it. But that's his house, and he had servants and everybody doing their stuff in that house where he stayed at. But the temple was where you would go worship at, right? That might have been why it was took 2 more years in building, you know. And the foundation was of costly stone, even great stones, stones of 10 cubits and stones of 8 cubits. And above were costly stones after the measure of hewn stones and cedars. And the great court round about was with 3 rows of, excuse me, and the great court around about was with 3 rows of hewed stones and around and a row of cedar beams. A row of cedar beams, excuse me, y'all, both for the inner court of the house of Yah and for the porch of the house. So I wonder if it was connected. Both for the inner court of the house of Yah and for the porch of the house. Let's keep it going a little bit. Hiram of Tyre employed by Solomon. Okay, now we have verse 13. Now we're at the next point. It's not a chapter, it's just another heading. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. So now, all this from verse 1, chapter 7, verse 1 to chapter 12, to verse 12, rather. It was about Solomon building his house and the great court. Not only his house and his wife's house. Pharaoh's daughter. Right? So that was the way he made his house and his wife's house and the porch to the altar. Now we had Hiram of Tyre employed by Solomon. Now Solomon is employing him to do the work, right? So I guess chapter 6 was the confirmation or the short form of the story. I guess this is when the work is actually being done. Hiram of Tyre employed by Solomon. Verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. So now he went and fetched him, right? This is the difference. We just read in chapter. This is why I try to get people to understand. You have to get an understanding of what's being said. He went and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. He was a widow's son. Okay. Hiram was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali. Okay. He has the tribe of Naphtali. And his father, that's a key too. And his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass. Man of Tyre. He was a widowed son. That means of his father passed, but he was a widowed son. He was a widowed son and the tribe, son of the tribe of Naphtali, right? One of the 12 tribes of Israel. Those one of the 12 tribes. And his father was a man of Tyre, okay, a worker in brass. And he, okay, if you notice this, he's a worker in brass. He taught his son his skills. That's how we're supposed to do. We're supposed to teach our children our skills. Now, when I was coming up, my mother used to braid my hair. I used to have long hair when I was young. My mother used to braid my hair. She taught my sisters to braid, right? Until this weave stuff took over. I don't know if they still know how to braid now or not. But I remember that. She was trying to show me how to braid. I could do a little bit. I could do my great grandmother's house, but here. But it's been a long time since I've done it. But the fact is, this is how we learn from our parents. You learn certain traits to make money from. But this system have taken your traits and made you, they want you to pay them for you to do a work. People are their mind is already set right now. Woo, let me just, sometime I have to bring it out. People's minds are set that they have to go get a license in order to do a job, in order to pay your bills, in order to make your own business. You got to go get a license from the system to do something that you can learn to do on your own. Now, I'm not saying don't go to school and learn more information. You can do that. But the key I'm getting at is not how, because that's what they do. But this is their purpose. It's time to come out from among them and be set free and liberated. So let's get back to the story. As I was saying, I was sharing with you how Naphtali showed his son the cutting and working on brass. That's how we're supposed to do with our children. Again, verse 14. He was a widowed son. Let me give me some water over here. My voice is really going. Excuse me. Again, he was a widowed son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass, and he was filled with wisdom and understanding and cunning. With wisdom, and he's filled with understanding and cunning to work all works in brass. You see that? Whatever it is in brass, he was smart with it. His father taught him the trait. This is how we're supposed to do. We've lost it. Y'all got to go to school and get a career. Trades was good at one time. A carpenter, a plumber, an electrician. Those are trades that will put money in your pocket. But they're teaching you away from that. Why are they teaching you away from that? Because as long as you have a career, you keep this system running afloat. But as long as you got a trade, you can take care of you and your family. You can build your house, you can have a land, and you know everything you need to do on that. That's what people have forgotten. They're not forgotten it. They haven't only forgotten it, but not only have forgotten it, they haven't been taught it. Because a lot of people, when they father have a family business, they want to go and do something else. Hey. And he came to King Solomon and wrote all his work. He wrote all his work. He showed all his work. That's why I say people have a portfolio. Portfolio. He wrote all his work. For he cast two pillars of brass, even 18 cubits high apiece. And a line of 12 cubits did compass either of them. And a line of 12 cubits did compass either of them both about. So it must have been thick going around those beams, right? And he made two chapters of molten brass. Molten brass, that means he melted down. Molten brass to set upon the tops of the pillars. You see that? The height of the one chapter or a chapter was 5 cubits, and the height of the other chapter was 5 cubits. Excuse me. And nets of checkerwood and nets of checkerwood and refs say nets of checkerwood and rates of chain work. For the chapters which were upon the top of the pillars, 7 for one chapter and 7 for the other chapter. And he made the pillars and 2 rows round about upon the one network to cover the chapters that were upon the top with pomegranates, and so did he for the other chapters with pomegranate. Okay. This is how he's decorating it and putting it together. All right. Excuse me. 19. And the chapters that were upon the top of the pillars were of, huh?
You understand? Like, it's a reason he doing it for this way. Like, it ain't just like he just chose it randomly.
Yeah, remember I was saying that earlier. Yeah, I said that. I said it's a reason why he was doing these things a certain type of way. When I was saying earlier, when I said the foundations of stones, and he were costly stones after the measure of the huge stones, and with cedars. It was somewhere in here. I was saying he did these things for a reason. There was a reason why he did it. Because I know why. Because I was talking about the windows right here, verse 5. I said, verse 4 and 5 says, and there were windows in 3 rows, and lights were against light in 3 ranks. Now, like, he did this for a reason. Verse 5, and all the doors and posts were square with the windows, and light was against light in 3 ranks. And I was like, he did this for a reason. Now, tell me your point of view, because I know you see it too. G. Yeah, tell me your reason why you said, because I seen it too. When I seen the windows was in 3 rows or something like, I said he's doing this for a reason. There's a reason why. Tell me your reason why. Do you know?
It made me think about when you said you put grass on top of the thing. It made me think about remember the bed frames that used to have those screw grass things you screw on the top of each. There's like a pillar at the foot of the bed. There's one on each side of the bed. Grass like things to scroll, sleep on, And it just made me wonder, is that the reason why stuff like that exists? Like, is it a purpose? Like, even like how they built the pyramid so they can line up with the stars and all of this stuff like
exactly.
That.
It's a purpose behind everything.
He might have had the windows line up for the lighting for a certain reason.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know.
No, bro. I'm with you on it. You know why I'm with you on it? Because in the Songs of Solomon, I think it's 3 volumes of books called Songs of Solomon. You know, he had a certain ring. He used to command, the creator gave him a ring where he could command demons and stuff like that, and he got a lot of information.
All of these things is probably ancient things that we done lost, like you said, lose touch with as time goes by. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like how you sleep in your bed, it might be a certain way.
Yeah.
Bed made, all of this type of stuff, man. Like, so who knows? Like, I don't know, but
I'm with you on it.
That's the kind of questions I was thinking about when you asked me. That's all.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you 100% because I was thinking the same way. Even though we seeing this,
what are these measurements?
What do they mean? What's the purpose behind them? Um, it's they're these ways for a certain purpose and for certain reason. I'm with you on that, bro. Cause I thought the same thing. So that I don't know if you heard me say it earlier, but I know it must have hit you like it hit me. If it's saying all these things, it's doing it. It's a purpose behind it. We might not. This is where we start getting inquisitive, and like you do, and like we all should do, start researching why is this and why is that, why, and then stuff to start connecting. Cause I know and I understand the seed. I was telling a woman this yesterday about the seed of day, but that's another subject. But we're gonna get into that after we get to the point of him having 1,000 children. When I broke that down to that woman yesterday, when I had the conversation, she's like, "You may be right about that." I said, "You may be a child of David through Solomon's seed."
The how frequency, like they say how the rich eat off silver plates,
Yep.
silver forks,
Yep.
drink out of silver goblets. Like how they tell you, like you hear copper is drinking good out of copper.
Yep.
They was silver.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Brass on your bed, like the brass bed railings and all of these things. The brass,
They have a
you know,
certain frequency, a certain energy to them.
frequency, like you said, for all sorts of reasons, man. Like you said, how the light hits the chambers,
Yep.
all this type stuff. So, it just made me think about stuff like that. That's
I'm
all.
with you. I'm with you 100%, brother. Because once we know in the position and state we in, we've lost a lot of knowledge. But it's our time to get this knowledge back. So just reading some of this information, some of the history in this information, it puts us to starting being inquisitive, to start researching and finding that, okay, wait a minute, this might be why he did this. This might be why this and that happened. That's when we start getting inquisitive, and the spirit will bring it to us. So let's say that was chapter 19. Not chapter, verse 19. It says, and the chapters that were upon the top of the pillars were of lily work in the porch for cubics, for cubics. Verse 20. And the chapters upon the two pillars had pomegranates also above over against the belly, which was by the network. Against the belly. Pomegranates also above over against the belly, which was by the network. When with network. And the pomegranates were 200 in rows around round about. The pomegranate was 200 in rows round about upon the other chapter. 200 in rows round about upon the other chapters. 21. And he sat upon the pillars in the porch of the temple, and he set up the right pillar and called the name thereof Jachin, J- Ya- Yachin, Jachin, and he set up the left pillar. Hold on, that's the right pillar. Called the name thereof Jachin, and set up the left pillar and called the name thereof Boaz. He gave name for a reason. See, like you just said, these are purpose. These things happen for a purpose. And upon the top of the pillars was lily work. So was the work of the pillars finished. Boaz. He set up pillars in the porch of the temple and upon the top of the pillars were lily work. I hadn't put that in this color for a purpose. All right. Say, and upon the top of the pillars was lily work, so was the work of the pillars furnished. Finished. The pillars was finished. Mm, mm, mm. That's something. So, I mean, Ms. We in 50 something minutes. I'm a pause this. We're gonna do a part two on this other part. Because that's gonna take it from here. They're gonna take it from 23 to 50 to 51. So yeah. We're gonna pause it from here. We're gonna go into the rest of the furnishing of the temple, which is the furnishing the temple. It's we're gonna end it there. We'll end it here for part one. But yeah, G1, like you were just saying, bro, it hit you just like it hit me. It's a purpose behind the reason why he did that. By him being wise and understanding all things, he had these things did in a certain dynamic, in a way, for a certain purpose. Just like you said about the pyramids when they were built. They were built to be in a certain area for certain things. There's a lot of things that goes on that we need to understand that we have no knowledge about. And the more we start gaining more knowledge, we start to understand doing things in a certain purpose.
Yeah, even certain buildings, buildings they have and they build a certain way.
Yeah.
You was talking about codes. You have housing authority.
There you go.
You can't build this way. You can't, you need a permit to do this way, or this is impermissible, and like you can't put a wind, solar, one of those wind powered turbines in your house in a certain area. You know what I mean? They don't want certain things. So, maybe the government they block certain ways to build the high power, whereas before people knew how they build, and they would do it for the reasons of high power stuff. Where now there's a code. No, you can only build this way. And some of the codes are for safety reasons, but a lot of it, like you said, is hiding behind the reason of saying, "Oh, this is for safety," or da da da. But yeah, man, he's probably building on some powerful reasons. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
not beyond just the foundational, structural reasons. Obviously you can't build a house on sand. You know what I mean? Or quicksand. You know what I mean? So yeah, not that type of reason type stuff, but on a more higher essence, he had a more high powered reason for.
You know why I'm 100% rich on that? You think about the schematics of Washington. The schematics, the different things they do in different towns. They got stuff made. The people in charge have certain cities built a certain type of way for a certain dynamic. They always talk about facing the north, facing the east, facing the northwest for certain reasons. They have a lot of things that they have in schematics. You know what I'm saying on location, the way they have things done. Like you were just saying, bro, because it's a lot of different. What's going on here? It's a lot of situations going on that we don't know about. And when we look into the schematics of the way Washington, the White House was built, the Senate, and the way that it's set, the all kind of stuff. The what's that thing that the thing in that the tall little thing they got in there supposed to be it represents the penis, but the thing down there the Washington not is the Washington Monument.
It's after the one in Kemet, the obelisk.
The obelisk. There you go. The obelisk. That's exactly what I was thinking. That exactly. That's where they made it after. So a lot of stuff that they do, the Romans, that's what they do. They take from other cultures and add it to theirs and make it look like that they're the one who did it because they brainwash the world to make them think that the world to think that they did everything that's going on.
Yeah, but even more than that,
Knowledge, yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, like the real the Jettis pillars and all of these things, these were batteries and conductors that powered the city and kept, you know what I mean? Like they haven't activated it to that level. They don't know how to activate it. They
Mm-mm.
have knowledge to fully the wisdom to apply that knowledge in a way that activates it fully. You know what I'm saying? So
And you're right. And that's the reason why when we look at this, a lot of time when we're looking at certain things, we see it, but we don't see it. It be in plain sight. Mm-mm. That's the thing that be happening to a lot of people in this day and time. Stuff be in plain sight, and they don't see it right in their face. Off the subject, but on the subject, by plain sight. A brother, he shared, because it wasn't his, he shared a post that another brother put up. And they was talking about the tribe of Jephthah. And just because it says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided. And but everybody who read, they think that it says, by these were the Gentiles divided. It don't say that. And somebody made a post by the isles of the Gentiles. They said, well, the Jephthah is the only Gentile. I said, y'all don't read. I said, number one, people, it's sad. People have no understanding. I had to go in there and show them. I said, it doesn't say the Gentile. It says the isles of the Gentiles. All nations are Gentiles except for Israel. Every nation is either they're heathens, Gentiles, and nations. Israel is the only nation that is not a Gentile. We're not Gentile. We're the only one that's connected to the Creator. Everybody else is a Gentile, and outside of that. So we got a lot of so-called scholars and people who think they know the word, don't know the word like they think they know the word, because they miss key elements in stuff. Like we're talking about this situation we're looking at right here. People miss the key. They look right. The key is plain sight right in front of their face. It said the isles of the Gentiles. It didn't say all nations was Jephthah, or it doesn't say that it said by these were the Gentiles, or all were Gentiles, which is Jephthah seed. It's talking about any nation is Gentile, but the isles of the Gentiles was of his sons. People have no understanding. And that's the sad part, when people get out here and they get to talking, they don't have no understanding, and they still just get to running off. Well, see, people don't even know and understand that say this and say that. It states what it say. But hey, got a lot of people who's teaching who still need to be taught. And I don't know it all. But what I know, I can stand on and I can show you. So I had to point aisles. So, but other than that, and then just for understanding, because you got to hit me, I got to clear that up. At that time, when they talked about Jephthah seed, it was the isles at that time. They grew into nations. There were islands and different places at the time. But between that time and today, they grew into nations. So it's not isles no more. They actually have Russia, which is, I think, Gog and Magog, um, and Meshach. All these are different parts of Jephthah, of his seed. But at that time, there was isles. Today's time, they have land. But like I say, people have no understanding. So other than that, just want to share with everybody that I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12, verses 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who they're really supposed to be, waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelation 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwells, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not, because the horn is blown without a doubt. This was prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. So we're ending the first part of Sabbath Assembly of the Righteous. This is part one. This is the end of part one, which was the first half of chapter 7, 1 Kings chapter 7. We get ready to go into the second part of chapter 7 and part 2 in a few moments. So we just wanted to end it at this point in time. I thank my brother G1 on for the day for the Assembly of the Sabbath by being here and attending and just being here. And we're going to thank everybody for coming through. And we're going to pause Zoom. And then we're going to let everybody else know how to get in contact with us and stick with us throughout the weeks. And we're going to come back with Zoom because Zoom is the full show, the full video. All right. So I'm pause you right quick, G1. I'll be right back.
Recording stopped.
All right. Now for YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I'd just like to share with you on Tuesdays, we have Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge. Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge. And what we have, when we have that, if you're interested, that's the only day that we have everything private. Everything is in private. So what I do is I take your information, your email. What I ask you is to send me your name, number, email at the number I'm about to give you at the end of this point. Send me your name, number, and email. And then what I would do, and also when you send it, say, I'd like to know more information about the solving classes or about the solving classes and the alkaline water and alkaline teas. But say you'd like to know more information. And then what I would do, I would put your email in my Google Voice. And if you don't have Google Voice, please Google Voice. If you have Google Calendar, please download or upgrade the Google Calendar so you'll have it. So I'm gonna take your email, put it in my Google Calendar. It's gonna come in your email. Then when you accept the invitation, all the dates is gonna come up for the date, like today, tomorrow, Monday, and then on Tuesdays it's Zoom only. So all the others is public, but Tuesdays is private, which is at 7:30 a.m. for those who may work late and can get on, and 9 p.m. for those who work early and can get on late. So if you'd like to connect with me, please text me your name, number, and email at 770-572-5315. That's 770-572-5315. All right. You can also email me at lkhyym@gmail.com. That's lkhyym@gmail.com. All right. Now, if you like to get on my public platforms and the platform that we're on, and just connect with me and connect with me and become a subscriber, please like, subscribe, and share with my other platforms. You can connect with me on YouTube and also X, formerly known as Twitter. That's YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. You can connect with me there at JuicePro33, which is spelled JUICEPRO33. That's all together one word. Again, that's JUICEPRO33. That's for X, formerly known as Twitter, and also for my YouTube, which you can like, subscribe, and share to. That's X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube at JuicePro33. Now, you can also connect with me on Facebook. My Facebook is Mikael Harris, which is spelled MI''CHAEL space HARRIS. Again, that's LKHYYM MI''CHAEL space HARRIS. One last time for Facebook. MI''CHAEL space HARRIS. Now, for my Instagram and one of my TikToks, I got 2 TikToks. And for my Instagram, you can connect with me there at Lakeim_the Juice, which is spelled LKHYM_the YYM underscore THEJUICE. Again, that's LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. That's my Instagram and one of my TikToks. My other TikTok has that's my other TikTok and my other YouTube. My other TikTok and my other YouTube is under Michael the Juice Harris. Put in your search engines MICHAELTHEJUICEHARRIS. Again, that's MICHAELTHEJUICEHARRIS. It's all together one word. Connect with me there. And like, subscribe, and share on that YouTube as well. Now, if you'd like to know the full version, which is from Zoom, my full version is on patreon.com and rumble.com. Both of them /LKHYYM. That's patreon.com and rumble.com /LKHYYM. Let's see. Now, if you'd like to know the platforms that we're on, we're here on the Sabbath as we are today. We're on the Sabbath, which is called the Assembly of the Righteous, at 12 p.m. noon. 12 p.m. noon. And you can connect with us there at 12 p.m. noon from the Zoom. And the Zoom is also in your information as well. And that's on Mondays at 12 p.m. Then on Sundays, as we call it, that's on the Sabbath. I don't know why I said Monday. That's on the Sabbath day, Sabbath Assembly of the Righteous. Sundays, we have Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation. Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation. We talk about things across the board, and we're there the night after Sunday, which is Sunday, what they call Sunday night, which is at 9 p.m. At 9 p.m. night after Sunday, we're here for Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth, which is open conversation. On Mondays, we are here at Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth at 9 p.m. Night after Monday at 9 p.m. Mikhail's Knowledge of Truth. And we're here at that time, which is 9 p.m. Come on through from the same link as well. And last but not least, on Tuesdays, it's private. It's Zoom only. You have to be on Zoom only, and I share with you at the beginning of the situation. You can go to, you can look in your information. If you send me your information, I'll send you the information as well, how to get on the Zoom. And in those, I just say, once you send me your information and it comes up in your email, you'll have the information in your calendar and you will get a notification for Introduction to Solving Class. Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge. So as we can see, my sleep is trying to come down back on me. I'm going to give me some rest. But other than that, I'd like to thank y'all for your time, your patience, your listening ear, your seeing eye. We're done with part 1. We'll be right back with part 2 with the furnishing of the temple. Furnishing the temple. Other than that, I'd like to thank y'all for your time, your patience, your listening ear, your seeing eye. We're going to say bye over here to, let's just say Instagram at the moment. I'd like to thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, your seeing eye. We'll be right back. Love you. Appreciate you. Mama, I'll see you on, and I'll see you in a moment. This was Facebook, should I say. Peace. There we go. There we go. That's my. I gotta get that in a moment. I guess I'll get it now. All right. Now for Instagram. I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate love. You see right back in part 2 in a few moments. And Peace. Now over here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening there, and your seeing eye. We'll be right back with part 2. We'll see you in a few moments, and thank you for coming. Peace. Okay.